Today's episode is one you do not want to miss. I am sitting down with the incredible Melissa Rodriguez, who opens up about her journey of surviving narcissistic abuse, losing everything, and finding the strength to rebuild her life, not just for herself, but for her child. She takes us inside the reality of emotional and financial abuse, how it shows up in ways society often overlooks, and why her book, He Didn't Hit You, is sparking powerful conversations about what abuse really looks like. You're about to hear a story of survival, strength, and success that proves no matter how dark things get, you can always rise again. Hey, Queen, welcome to the She Elevates podcast. I'm your host, Liz Rakin, your favorite elevation bestie who's been through it, healed from it, and came back stronger with a mission. This podcast is your safe space and soul sanctuary where we talk real about relationships, motherhood, money, mindset, and everything in between. So if you're ready to reclaim your power, reconnect your purpose, and rewrite your story, let's get into it. Melissa, welcome to She Elevates podcast.
I'm super excited to be here and thank you for having me.
I'm excited for you to be in the first series, the first episodes. Your story has a huge impact, and we're going to dive into a lot of things about what you have to offer, how you can help support women, listeners of She Elevates. Let's get started. We've both been through a lot of emotional, financial abuse. What did rock bottom look like for you?
I think the sad part for me was that I didn't I'd had a rock bottom, but it was one of those things where it continued. It wasn't just like one singular moment. It was a series of moments that just kept on happening. A lot of people don't realize that even in separation, like a narcissist will continue to try to manipulate and gaslight and keep control as long as they could. So for me, I ended up losing my job because I worked for him and he owned his own business. So I was his operations manager and I did a lot of the work that was the important stuff. Like he's amazing in sales, but a business can't run without operations. And I did all the systems,
Right.
I did the back end stuff, I kept the flow going. So just a lot of that stuff was on my plate and my responsibility. And he terminated me when all of this started happening. So I lost my job. I lost the home that I was renting and I ended up moving back in with my parents. And I'm raising a 1-year-old or an almost 1-year-old by myself at this point because
Yeah.
he just wanted to control everything, including the child support. He's don't petition the courts. He basically just made it so he could dictate what he wanted to do and the role he wanted to play. And even after I moved back home, even after like he supposedly said we separated and I never want to see you again. It was just every once in a while when I started to do the work to heal, it became, what are you doing? I miss you. And can you work? So the rock bottom just never got to be a full rock bottom because it still continued after that.
Wow. Yeah, that is wild. It's really hard for someone who's never experienced that to understand what you've gone through, what I've gone through, what a lot of women and men, unfortunately, have gone through. It's very difficult. I'm curious, was there anything from your childhood or upbringing, or why do you think you might have been attracted to this person? What really led down this path? Just with your healing and everything that we're going to get into. I'm just curious, do you feel like there was something there that attracted to this person, or did it just come out of nowhere?
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. And again, a lot of people don't realize like my upbringing was a fantastic upbringing. Like my parents are hardworking, they're dedicated. My mom works at a daycare center. So she's like one of the most nurturing people you'll ever meet. Like she works in the baby room in a daycare.
Okay, so wild, because my mother was a childcare provider too.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. We had kids in our house all the time.
Yes. She's one of the most nurturing people you'll ever meet. I don't think it had anything to do with my upbringing. Again, a lot of people are under the assumption that a narcissist targets a weak person when in fact they target the stronger people. They target the people that have something that they need or something that they want. And in his case, he saw a strong established woman, because at that time I had a podcast that I was doing. I was
Yeah.
working a really good job. I was in management roles and management positions. So he saw this strong woman, and he himself was coming from a place where he was healing from a past toxic relationship. So for
Yeah.
him, I had that strength that he needed, but it just turned out that what I thought was somebody who was on a healing journey was really somebody using me for his healing journey. And you can't anticipate that, especially when somebody puts on a mask for so long and lets you think they're
Yeah.
doing it with you when really they're not. They're using
Yeah.
to get back on their feet at that.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I definitely felt that even with my relationship as well. And as an empath, right? Because we're
Mhm.
usually empaths and we feel all the feels. And for me, I would make up all the excuses in the world, whether it was like he has trauma from his childhood and he used to get beaten and he had a rough upbringing.
Yeah.
And then it was military trauma. He has PTSD and he's seen things in combat. So then I felt bad for him again. That does not mean just because you had these bad things happen to you in your life that you have the power to be able to harm someone else because of it. And then when I started unwinding, I'm like, wait, I've had a lot of stuff happen to me. That doesn't mean I'm going around abusing people
Right.
because of what I've gone through. We
Mhm.
all need to work on ourselves and not, it's absolutely nobody else's responsibility.
Exactly.
So let's give the listeners, in case they're not exactly familiar with emotional financial abuse, can you
Mhm.
give some examples of what that might have looked like for you?
For me, it was definitely like it was extreme verbal abuse. There were times where the things that he said, and again, like you said, he had his own issues. Like he did have a terrible upbringing, a traumatic relationship. He had bipolar disorder too, that like he at first was taking medication for, but then he stopped taking the meds for it. But it's like you said, there's no excuse that justifies taking it to that level where you cross the line between not being able to handle your emotions and just completely outright being verbally abusive or emotionally abusive. The words that he would say to me were like some of the most horrible things you'll read in a text message. The names that he would call me, the accusations, like he would constantly accuse me of cheating on him or having cheated on him at one point because I went out with a couple of guy friends while we were in the tumultuous part of our relationship. Me going out one night, he's, oh, you went out to cheat. I'm like, no, I went out to feel safe because you didn't make me feel safe. And I lost the majority of my friends in that relationship because he isolated me. And there were times
Yeah.
where if I was talking to somebody, he'd be like, "Who are you talking to?" And I'm like, "It's a girlfriend." I hadn't even spoken to guys at that point. I had stopped speaking to male friends entirely because it was just like his insecurities didn't allow it. And he always thought that there was something going on. Or if someone was even remotely attracted to me in some way, he would freak out about it. And so that night that I went out with two of my guy friends, it just that's the night that ingrained in his head and it imprinted that, oh, she went out to cheat. No, I went out because you went off the wall and I
Yeah.
wanted to feel safe and I didn't want to stay home and I didn't want to be alone. Like I needed support and I needed support from whatever friends I had left because you pretty much made sure I didn't have many friends left. But again,
Right.
in his
Mhm.
mind, the intention was to cheat and get him back for all the things that he did to me. And I was like, this is again him projecting, and he knows that he cheated. He knows that he's the one going out and doing all of these things. Like he knows that he's the one who goes out with the intention to cheat. And I'm like, most people can have a normal relationship and go out and have dinners or lunches or, even like friends of the opposite gender and not have those
Yeah.
insecurities or like need to place extreme boundaries to that extent. So
Yeah.
it just became like one of those things where, again, the name calling after the accusations, it just spiraled into something that was out of control. And then financially, because I was working for him, he controlled the payroll. Like I would submit the payroll, but then he would go in and negate the payroll that I did. So I was constantly working like with the contracting work, like we did solar and roofing. And with contracting work, you don't really have steady hours. It's 24/7 where you can get a call at 6 o'clock in the morning because your roofers are starting work on site and they pull off
Yeah.
and find out that there's leak and water damage and plywood damage. So you can be getting a call at 7 o'clock in the morning from your guys on site saying, "Hey, we have a problem," or materials not delivering, and they get there and there's no
Mm.
material. So that job is never a consistent clock in at 9 and clock out at 5. You count your hours based on what you think you did for the day. And being on call, you're pretty much working more than 40 hours a week. But I'm putting 40 hours because that's a graceful number. But again, with contracting work, you're pretty much working about 60 hours a week on
Mm.
any good given week. And he would knock it down to 23 or 24 hours. He would tell me that he can't pay me that much. He would offer salary and update it in the payroll system. And then if he got mad at me or if something wasn't done correctly, which a lot of the times it ended up not being my fault. It was like the error of one of the reps that I had to then go back and fix. But because the error happened, and he's responsible for this, he would reduce my pay. So he would either take me off salary or he would change my hourly rate. And I'm like, legally, you can't do this. Like in New York,
Yeah.
not allowed.
Yeah.
But again, because it's small business and it doesn't like, it's hard to prove.
Yeah.
And like I would have lawyers that say, unfortunately, there's really not much we can do because
Yeah.
the rules are a little bit different with LLCs and you have to be able to prove it kind of thing. And so it was hard because there were times where I'm working 40 hours or 60 hours and he's only letting me put 24 or 5 on the payroll. So yeah, that became the financial abuse because I'm here renting a home and he's pretty much making sure that I don't have the money to rent it. And
Yeah.
it's almost like he
Mhm.
did it on purpose.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, whether intentionally or not, they definitely do it as a sense of control, which I think was one of the first things I really noticed was the amount of control that he had over my life. Because for the longest, the word narcissist wasn't really thrown around. The emotional, the verbal abuse piece, when my relationship had started, it really wasn't like that known. People weren't knowledgeable about it. People weren't
Mhm.
really searching for it. So control, that was definitely the first piece. I was like, man, he is so controlling. And then it was hard for me because I just was trying to figure out like masculine versus feminine. And I was like, is this just a masculine trait? Is this something that men always present, this
Right.
type of control? And in a way, it makes a woman feel like, okay, she's got like this protector, this big, strong guy. But then unfortunately, when you peel it back, it's no, he's holding me hostage at this job. I'm going to lose my house emotionally, verbally, all of the things that he's saying to me. The
Mhm.
projecting is wild. Like, I definitely was accused of cheating, going out, dating, seeing other men, and meanwhile, I'm getting a message from this girl saying, here's a positive pregnancy test, and it's his. So
Wow.
I'm like, wait, I'm cheating, but some chick is knocked up.
Right.
That's a little bit backwards. But yeah, I definitely lost all my closest friends, family. I didn't even want to socialize at that point. I really
Yep.
cut myself off. And then it's such a mind fuck.
Yeah.
You try to get out there, but it's just these little sly remarks that we don't really catch in the beginning, or we think it's for the better of the relationship. It's not like abuse is just outwardly right there in your face in the
Mhm.
beginning. Like you said, I'm sure he paid you well at first. And then over time, he made all these excuses and made it seem like your fault when obviously, number one, anyone's allowed to make a mistake. So you
Right.
shouldn't be not paid for not performing perfectly. And
Right.
then, secondly, it was just a way for him to get control over you. That was hindsight is 2020. Like looking back, it's so obvious. But when
Yeah.
you're in it, you're just like, okay, I will suck this one up. Maybe it'll be better the next paycheck, or I will find another means to make income so that I can cover for when he does this. And
Yeah.
You are so worthy of so much more, and you're so capable. You're so intelligent. You've already made his business like
Yep.
awesome, and the revenue skyrocketed all
Yeah,
because of you, Melissa. And that's something you realize you could do on your own. You don't
absolutely.
need him in your corner. You can make this happen on your own. Oh, you've written a book
Yes.
and it's called He Didn't Hit You. That is such a powerful title. So tell me why you chose that title and what
Mm.
your book is about.
So I chose it for exactly that reason because it's powerful and impactful, but it was also something that my lawyer had said when I was going through the court process. So I had a court appointed lawyer who's actually no longer my lawyer, thank God, because I ended up having a lot of problems and that should have been the first sign. One
Yeah.
of the appearances that we had, like, I had told her pretty much about everything that he had done. She had the text messages that he had sent me. She even had emails that he had written. Like, I had given her pretty much like a ton of like proof of like how he is emotionally abusive. And I told him like this impacts my child because I'm thinking
Yeah.
about her emotional development here. I'm thinking about again the fact that he's still trying to control everything and he's pretty much making it so that I can't provide for my child. These are all things that impact like her upbringing and impact how like this just parenting in general. And every time we had a court appearance, it was like she would never fight for me. She wouldn't bring it up. She would say it didn't matter. And so there was one appearance where I had told her, I'm like, you didn't bring up any of the things that I had asked you to bring up. Like he's retaliating against me. Like he got a restraining order against me because I had one on him. So because I had
Wow.
he decided to get one on me as like retaliation. And I was like, I need you to get that dismissed because I had to communicate with him about my child, first of all. And he put it so that I can't communicate at all. And I was like, thank you
Yeah.
lied on it because everything that he said is not even true. And the judge granted it. And I was like, and it's our referee that granted it. So I need you to have her dismiss it. And
Yeah.
my lawyer didn't do anything. She was like, I don't have time to review it, or I didn't have time to review the information, so I can't do anything. And I'm like, but you can. I'm telling you, like, he's lying. I'm telling you that I have proof
Yeah.
here that he's lying on the petition, which is a crime. Thank you. And
Yeah.
and she was like, she barely tried, and the referee was like, no, I'm not dismissing it. So when I walked out of the courtroom that day, I was like, you really haven't done anything to help me. And he continues to be again emotionally abusive because he's retaliating on me. And I'm like, so
Yeah.
that again, not like controlling or abusive in any way. And she's, but did he hit you? And I'm like, does that really need to be the situation for somebody to do
Yeah.
something about this?
Yeah.
Are we still stuck in a place where if he didn't hit you, he can get away with the things that he's done? And just that made me question everything from how we look at abuse in society still to how the
Yeah.
system is still not, it hasn't caught up to narcissism in general, but not just narcissism, but covert narcissism, the stuff that people don't
Yeah.
realize is going on, the sneak attacks, and how they even manipulate the court system and make themselves seem like this great guy when behind the scenes,
Absolutely.
I have like text messages and emails and things that he's said and done, or he's allowed to go out and get a restraining order because he did it through family court instead of the police station, like I did. So
Yeah.
he finds the loopholes in the system and he was exploiting them. So just that day, I was like, I need to write about it because nobody seems to be
Yeah.
listening. I don't have the funds to hire a lawyer that will listen. And like the way I saw it is if somebody read my story, then maybe I can get the help and maybe the right eyes will see it and I'd get
Yeah.
assistance. Or if not, then maybe it becomes a lesson to someone else that, hey, we need to start advocating for better because there's a gap here and there's work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
and the only way to get that message across was with a title like that. And plain and simple, for someone to say, but did he hit you? I was like, I can't imagine how many women, mothers heard that from their lawyers and just walked out
Yeah.
or defeated or walked out of like a police station defeated, thinking because he didn't hit me, it's okay.
Yeah, 100%. And that messes with our psyche once again. So it makes us feel crazy in our own skin and our own thinking patterns. Wait, maybe they're right. If someone of this hierarchy and this position is asking us, did he hit you? It's not a big deal if he didn't. That gets to our minds, gets to our heads. And then we're like, okay, am I overreacting? Maybe I'm the one overreacting here. And I think it's so important. The book that you've written, it's communicating to other women like, hey, you're not alone. There's other women out here dealing with the same thing, and you're not crazy. Because a lot of times we are isolated. We've already been disconnected from talking to our closest family, friends, and now we're turning to the courts who we feel are, they're appointed to me, they're going to support me. And absolutely not. You didn't get that. And what a failure from the system to
Mm.
not be able to support no matter what kind of abuse it was, affecting a child. Like now you have a beautiful daughter, and all of this affects her in how she's going to be raised. And it's super, super scary. Like it's
Yeah.
really frightening because how she's raised, one parent, two parents, whether he's in the picture, whether he's not, whether he continues this crazy mind game for the
Yeah.
rest of time. If he's already abused you financially, I'm sure child support is an issue. It always is. Whether he comes around and he says, no, she's withholding my daughter, I'm allowed to see her. They always make it about them. It's never about the kid. And that's really unfortunate. It's about
Yeah.
control. If they can't control you, they will then try to control you through the child. And that's just so toxic for a family to have to deal with. Yeah, I'm so sorry that women have to deal with this. It was a very big struggle for me. I got the restraining order as well.
Mhm.
He, of course, said that nothing had happened. They ended up dropping it. I really wanted my kids to be able to have the mom and dad. So I really did fight to try to build some kind of relationship there. But then I realized how bad it was for them. And I was like, why am I trying to force something? Number one, he doesn't want to be there, not as a father. He wants to be there to control the situation. And number two, when I realized my kids were more peaceful with it just being mom at home
Yeah.
and not being woken up at 4 a.m., not having someone come in and throwing shit throughout the house, they were sleeping through the night. My then 3-year-old, she was finally getting potty trained, which all my kids were potty trained at, but she
Yeah.
had regressed so many times because of the stressful environment. It was night and day from when I lived, when they were in that environment to when we removed ourselves. And like you, I moved in with my parents and we found our peace there. Like we were able to actually heal as a family and work together and have the support that you need with your loved ones. So it's really great to be able to have that. And it's not to say for women listening, if they don't have that, there is a way. There is always a way. Like you said, they attract like really intelligent, high achieving women,
Mhm.
and we are problem solvers.
Yeah.
If you kick us to the curb, we will find a way to rise. And if you really want something bad enough, you want the freedom of your life back, you want your finances back, you no longer want to be under somebody's control. You also want that for your children. Like you will find a way out. And I didn't care at that point if it meant sleeping in a car or reaching out to a friend. Sometimes we need to get out of our comfort zone and be a little bit more vulnerable. Like I finally had to share my story with people for them to be able to say, hey, I support you and I want to help you. Like a lot of people do want to help us, but we're so scared to speak up about it. And I think your book is just going to make such an impact to validate other women that are going through what both you and I have gone through. And then they'll
Mhm.
be able to take the action and be able to see what happens, what we go through with the court system. Like it's
Yeah.
not even over when we leave. There's so much more drama and chaos after the fact. So Let's talk about when you did leave. You
Mhm.
left your job, you left your home. What helped you, Melissa, to take that very first step forward afterwards?
It actually took me a while to get to where I am today. So this year was when, again, I just decided enough is enough. And I can't keep like doing it this way because I was getting unemployment. The good thing is, like, he had unemployment insurance. So for a while, I was getting unemployment. But then when that stopped, I found myself back in a situation where, again, I'm still unemployed because just the job market has gone down. And I know so many people who have been looking for jobs for a year to a year and a half. And I'm not like the only one looking for a job in the job
Right.
market. And I got to a point where it was like, I need to like one, share my story because again, nobody should ever feel this way. But it was like,
Yeah.
now I need to also get back on my feet. And so I decided to build a business and I decided that I needed to start over because it's like we said earlier, I, for all of my life, have helped companies make millions of dollars in revenue and millions in profit. It's not just sales, like they've made millions in profit. And even his company in 2024 ended at almost 2 million in profit for a small business. It's only been open for about 3 years or 4 years.
Wow.
So to reach that milestone within the first 5 years is a huge milestone. And I did that. I'm like, no, you think you did that. But if you didn't have operations behind you, you would have never been
Yeah.
able to sustain that. There's no way you would have been able to sustain a workforce of 70 to 100 jobs a year. Like you're talking about, you sold those jobs, great. You had reps who sold those jobs, great. But who handled everything on the back end to make sure that those jobs saw completion at that point?
Yeah.
I did it with other companies that I worked for. Like I worked for a repair company where I also found that they had a whole territory in the South that had like out of compliance equipment. And I was like, yeah, those doors are going to fail. Like the equipment is not compliant anymore. It's outdated. It like the company like had discontinued like years before.
Mhm.
So I was like, this needs an upgrade. And they were like, but that's a lot of stores. I'm like, but it's against code. So I'm like, you can actually justify this
Yeah.
because it's currently against code. So if they would
Yeah.
have did an inspection, they would actually end up paying a fine for violating the current codes. And because I found that hole that quarter, I was able to generate $2 million in profit because I found
Wow.
the necessary loophole to justify the expense. And they ended up like, again, approving all those work orders to get that area, like that southern area up to compliance and up to code.
Wow.
So that's what I do. And that's been my experience. And I'm like, I have almost 20 years of experience in management and operations and customer service. I need to be able to put this to use in some way. And there's got to be something
Yeah.
that I can do. So I started a business consulting brand. And
Fantastic.
and
Congratulations.
thank you. And I just realized that so many women entrepreneurs, mompreneurs start companies when, like you said, we've hit the rock bottom and we've had the financial abuse and we want to take back our lives. A lot of women are just becoming entrepreneurs and they're starting from scratch. But what we don't realize is that there's so much when it comes to starting your own business. Like you have to think about branding, you have to think about sustainability, you have to think about processes, you have to think about packages and pricing and getting leads and clients. And there's so much that goes into starting a brand or building a business that it's overwhelming. Like even I was overwhelmed creating it. And I'm like, if I didn't know all those tools that I needed to know to start my own business, I'd probably
Yeah.
be struggling for months. But because I have the knowledge, I was able to build my website. I was able to come up with my branding, come up with my visuals and everything. And I'm like, I love my brand and I love the colors that I chose. Like it's
Yeah.
beautifully, like it's aesthetically really beautiful. And,
Yeah.
but it's the services that I offer that really, again, it's there to help people get started. But it's funny because when I started it, I was looking at my prices and I found a prompt on Facebook earlier this week where It was like play devil's advocate on my business strategy and tell me what I'm avoiding or lying to myself about, or if there's any gaps in my strategy. And
Yeah.
my chat GPT was like, you're underpricing. And it actually told me with brutal honesty, you're severely underpricing your services. And it almost comes from a place of trauma echoes where you're underpricing because that's what you think your packages are worth. When really your
Yeah.
experience and your transformation and everything you've done over the last 10, 15 years makes all of these packages high ticket packages. So it took one of my services that I was pricing at 495 and it was like, yeah, no, you need to charge like 1250 for that. So it almost tripled
Nice.
my
Oh my
value.
gosh.
Yeah. And I was like, how many women, again, when they start their companies, price their services low because it's again, it's that imprint in us. And I was like, I didn't even know that could even be a factor that we price from that place of still having that residual trauma and thinking like,
Yeah.
who's going to buy this package if I charge them 1250? Can I justify that price? And that's when my chat GPT was like, yeah, it's called prove it pricing. Like you're trying to prove yourself when you don't
Yeah.
need to prove yourself.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
100%. You have the
yeah.
experience, you have the knowledge, you
Mhm.
have the proof already from what you did with your ex's business. Like
Yeah.
you are capable and you've helped other companies do the same thing. Yes, the
Yeah.
proof is there, Melissa. You've done this 10 times over
Yeah.
and now you are worthy. That is also part of the healing journey, right? Like we're
Mhm.
still trying to prove that we're worthy, that we are enough, that we're valuable. Even though abuse is through a relationship, it affects all areas of our life, your business, your mindset, your parenting, being a mom, even working out in the gym was like affected from the abuse. Like everything, so many subconscious thoughts
Yeah.
that are instilled in us during that time period that we are with the narcissist or in the toxic relationship. We don't realize it, but we really start to believe what they're saying. And even though a lot of times I would say out loud, oh no, I'm super confident, deep down inside, subconsciously, I didn't believe it.
Right.
And it's wild. It takes time and it takes work. Like you really have to work on yourself to be like, no, I am worthy. I can do this. And even though you've seen it, you ignore what you've already proven because someone has told you otherwise and you held this person at a higher standard than what they should have been.
Right.
And it's really hard to undo that stuff. It's really hard to unpack it and rewire your mindset. I know a lot of my healing journey, I rewired as much as I could, like the habits, the thoughts, the beliefs. I said affirmations every day. Now my
Mhm.
daughters echo it because they hear me say it out loud.
Right.
And I listen to a lot of videos, a lot of podcasts, joined groups, support groups to really surround myself with other people that were doing what I wanted to do, what I wanted to believe in myself that I could achieve. So
Mm.
that is super, super important. And it doesn't happen overnight. Like, as much as we want to say, I'm worthy and I can do this, there's going to be pieces that come up, just like this pricing objective that you had on yourself. And you still are like, okay, ChatGPT, which knows us really well,
Yeah.
it knows us extremely well. It's like the BFF of AI.
Exactly.
And it told you you're underpricing. Like, that is such an authentic truth
Yeah.
to what you were doing, what you were thinking in your business. And I know that package is going to sell for you, Melissa. It's going to prove itself because you've already proved it. And yes, it's scary. It's scary jumping out and trying to charge three times what you've
Yeah.
already charged, but it's there. It's there. You're already going to make it happen. So I'm super excited for you with that. What were some of the mindset shifts that maybe other than like the pricing that just with healing in general, whether it's in parenting or business or relationships, what were some of the mindsets that you had to shift throughout the process?
So the one of the biggest mindset shifts that I'd had was around business. I'm also going to therapy. And when I was talking to my therapist about a lot of what's happened and even finding a job, she was like, first of all, the job market's tough. So don't even blame yourself for that because that's nothing that you can
Right.
control. And she was like, but she loved the idea of the book. She loved the idea of the business consulting. And she goes, what you need to understand is, and I love the way she said it, you're the sauce. You are the sauce behind all those companies that you work for. She was like, those results were generated because of you.
Wow.
You made millions for that company. You made millions for his company. And maybe they don't give you the credit. Maybe they try to undercut you. Companies don't give you the promotion because they want to control the situation. You don't realize with those same dynamics when you work for another company. They control your promotions. And it's not because they don't see your worth. They know your worth. They just look at it as competition rather than looking at it as cooperation and collaboration. And a lot of companies and businesses still do that to this day. And I found that in that other company that I worked for, that was exactly the case. It was because
Yeah.
most of the leadership in that particular company were men. And so to have a woman leader or a woman of that high caliber next to them, they were seeing it more as competition instead of
Mm.
collaboration. And they didn't realize that what I brought to the table was that I was identifying the gaps in between that needed to be filled. And I was that
Yeah.
bridge for those gaps. So there were a lot of times where the promotions took me longer to get because they didn't see those abilities. And so
Yeah.
I did the same thing the other day. I asked my chat GPT, I was like, if I were to apply for jobs in the market right now, what should I be applying for? And it
Yeah.
basically told me director of operations, VP of strategy of operations, COO on the of a chief board. And I'm like, those are high level positions. And
Yeah. Seriously.
I was like, I have held that high of a position like on my resume. And then I found myself going back into that trap of here I am
Yeah.
saying that's a high level position and questioning if I'm worthy of that position. Meanwhile,
Right.
my chat GPT is like, no, you've done this and this that
Yeah.
proves that you should be in that position. It's not that you're worthy. It's like you're supposed to be there. And
Right.
so again, between my therapist and ChatGPT, both of them are like, no, you're the sauce. Like you need to start acting like the sauce, not just in business, but in everything, because again, he was drawn to you for a reason. It wasn't just he knew what you could do for him in business. He saw, like you said,
Yeah.
a confident, empowered woman who has this secret ability to just bring out the best in people or find the gaps or find what's missing. And I see beyond the surface.
Yeah.
It's a rare quality. And it's also the emotional aspect too. Like I have that emotional intelligence where it's not just about business and making money. It's about creating long lasting relationships that bring in sustainability at that point. Cause you also have to think
Right.
relationships with your vendors. You have to think about relationships with anybody who walks through your door, metaphorically. Like
100%.
you have to think about every single person that walks through your door as a potential new relationship, and you have to build it and nurture it. And a lot of companies, not just my ex, but a lot of actual big companies still fail to do that. The company that I worked for would treat their vendors like crap because they were like, oh, the vendors work for us. I'm like, the vendors choose to work with us.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Absolutely.
at any point in time when their contract is up, they don't have to come back. They can either
No.
say, you got it.
You
They,
want to have that relationship. You have
yeah.
to have it.
Any of these companies can easily say, hey, once this contract is up, I'm not coming back to you. Or, hey, I need to sever this relationship. And I told that company, you need to start treating the vendors like they're actually the most important part of the business because they're your eyes and ears in the field. We dispatch these guys to fix stuff for us and for our eyes and ears out there. So we have to rely on their expertise and rely on what they see and what they know. And if we treat them like they don't know anything, they're not going to do the work for us.
They're not going to stick around for sure.
So it's that emotional aspect of things that a lot of businesses in general fail to realize and they fail to adapt to. So
Yeah.
between all of those qualities that I bring to the table, my chat GPT said, you should have been director of the Loans
Oh,
Emerald.
yes.
And it's like, you
Not
do
10
have,
years. Not 10. Yeah. You could have been, but now you're building a business on your own. So you don't need to be hired. You can already label yourself all of those things, Melissa, because you are those things. That is super wonderful and fantastic to hear. And it's like validating to you. I think you've known it for a long time. I know that you're capable. It's just hard to really put ourselves out there, especially when we've been knocked down so many times, when
Mhm.
we've tried to achieve greater things, and then we're told that we're not capable or are not able to do that. So it's who you surround yourself with is who you become. And I really believe, like, when we are stuck in these toxic relationships, we will never get to that level that we are capable of because we are surrounding ourselves with and it doesn't even have to be like a partner. It could be a boss and someone that you work with. It could be friends that you hang out with that aren't even aligned with your goals and your passions and things that you love to do.
Mhm.
But when you surround yourself with that toxicity, man, when I started learning about like negative energy and stuff, I started getting really afraid of being around it because we pick up all of that. And even I had some friends in the past that just constantly complain. And I'm like, once I realized the negative energy was like infiltrating into my own brain, I was like, I cannot be around this all the time. This is
Yeah.
draining. This is
Yeah.
so draining. Even like the gossip, I can only handle so much. And then I'm just like, okay, I have other things I need to do on my plate
Right.
that are more empowering and uplifting and supporting other people. I don't want to sit here and talk about all of this stuff. And I'm a faith based woman, God, and gossiping is not allowed anyway. If I go back to my Catholic beliefs, I'm like, you know what? Why do we tend to gossip so much? Let's work on bettering ourselves and elevating ourselves and trying to continue becoming like this greatest version of ourselves because we're never fully done. Like
Yeah.
we're trying to reach milestones, but us women, we are going to continue to look for the next milestone, right? We're not going to stop. You've written your book. Now you're growing your business. You're going to be impacting others and their
Mhm.
businesses. And there's going to be more. There's going to be
Yeah.
more great things for you down the road, Melissa. So I'm super excited to see where that goes and follow you along your journey.
Thank you.
I know for me, becoming a mom really fueled my growth and my desires and passions. And it really helped me to be like, no, I need to be a better version
Mhm.
for them, for my children. They're watching, we're modeling. So I really believe like motherhood fueled growth for me. Do
Yep.
you believe the same thing? What did that look like for you with your daughter
Yes.
and becoming a mother? How did that fuel your business, your self concept of you and all of your beliefs?
So it actually changed everything because you realize you're not just doing it for yourself anymore and you're doing it for like this mini version of you. And I realized you don't just create a business, like you're creating a legacy when you think about it. Like something. And that's the beauty and the flexibility of being an entrepreneur because you can create something for yourself, but you can create something that's also a legacy for them. They get to have the choice of whether they want to continue with your business or just learn from the things that you're doing. She
Yeah.
watches me on my computer. She watches me do my branding. She watches me just really have that passion again in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So when I started my branding and when I started everything with my new business, one of the core values that I put in there is about legacy building, that it's not just building your relationships with your clients, it's about building
Yeah.
something sustainable for generations to come.
And she's like, yes, legacy.
Again,
Love it.
you also have to think about keeping that same concept and that value is something that I've also tried to tell my clients that when you build a business, you want that sustainability. You want it to create impacts from generations to come. Because even if your kids don't end up in the same industry or in the same realm of business, they
Yeah.
still feel the impact of what
Oh,
done, of your mission. And so, like with my branding packages, I've made that the core concept that your mission should make an impact. It shouldn't just be a mission about what you do and what you offer, but about can offer the future. So, and
Yes.
and a lot of people don't realize that branding needs to make that transition. That it's not just about when you create a brand or a business, it's not about what you could do now or your experience and what you've done in the past. It's about what you can create for the future.
Yes.
Being a mother, like, really made that the core value of everything that I do at this point. And that's the main value and the main mission behind what I'm doing and what I'm helping other people build. Because again, you want to have that ripple effect and have that impact. Everything is impact today.
I
Um,
love that.
and then the other thing that I'm actually doing is I'm going to write 2 books. So it's going to be like 2 books. The first one is Power Plays in Pajamas, and it's for the mothers,
Ooh.
the mompreneurs. And it's basically like a guide and a how to build that strategy, build that momentum while still doing it from the couch, while still being a mom,
Fantastic. I
while,
love that.
while doing it with juice spilled all over your shirt. And
Yes. Spaghetti flung at the wall, all the
right.
things.
And Power Play Pajamas is dedicated to how we have to adapt as moms, but still build our business. And then the second book is going to be Legacy of Little Leaders. So it's going to be a book
How beautiful.
for the children and how to nurture them and not just again nurture them into being future CEOs. It's nurturing them to build their confidence, to build their personality, to just be present in a world that can be sometimes chaotic.
Yes.
It's again that legacy building of little future leaders because you want them to be empowered, you want them to be confident, you want them to be
Absolutely.
emotionally intelligent. You want them to, again, be able to make their own impact in the world. And it starts by teaching that early on. And so that book is going
Yeah.
to be about how to instill that confidence and how to nurture those, like you said, like your daughters do affirmations now. So it's sort of
Yes.
things like that we can do as moms to nurture them into future little leaders. So it's going to be
Oh, that is so great. I'm super excited to hear more about it and follow you along. I'm sure you'll be posting about it on your socials, and we're going to keep in contact after this, Melissa, because number one, it's crazy how similar our stories are. Like, as alone that we felt in those deepest, darkest days, other women are going through the exact same thing. You are proof that you can come out on the other side and rise and become all of these great things: an author, a business owner, a fierce mom, someone who is ready for the challenges and will knock down any obstacle that comes in your way. And you're doing it with your daughter right beside you. And I absolutely love that. I know, I feel like we have so many pressures from society to be like, oh, your kid shouldn't hear about this, or no, don't tell them till they're older. And I'm not here to talk crap about their dad because they see it themselves. They
yeah.
see that he's not in the picture, they see that he's not here for them. And they also see positive male role models. They see what it is supposed to look like. And I purposely put like good people in their lives. Like I said, when I got rid of like the negative energy, it wasn't just for me, but for them too, to be able to really turn the page in where our generations were going. You and I took a stand and we were like, no, this generation from here out, our children's children is going to be different. We are restructuring the habits that we make, the choices that we decide upon, and we're doing it right in front of them. And I think that is like the biggest gift that can
Yeah.
come out of all of this situation. A lot of people want to just erase the past and wish that it never happened. And yes, it freaking sucked. Like it was so bad, but there's a way to rise. There's a way to turn something really bad into good
Mhm.
and make an impact on other people and help them along on their journey, no matter where they are, whether they're at the lowest low or they're trying to climb their way out of it. Like all of these conversations and us supporting each other is critical. It's critical. If there weren't certain women in my life at the time, I would still be stuck. Like I had to hear other people's perspectives. And I got a therapist just like you did, and they really can help you unwind all of those beliefs that you were fed during that time. And it's just becomes such a beautiful story for both of us and where we're going.
Yeah.
And our children get to come along for the ride. And I just feel like that's so super, super empowering. So thank you for sharing, Melissa, and being so vulnerable. I know everybody listening is going to want to follow you. So where can they find you? Where can they find your book, your socials? You want to share those?
Yeah. So my book is on Amazon. It's available hardcover and Kindle. It's on Amazon, and you can type literally the title, He Didn't Hit You, and it comes up like
Okay.
right away. Because again, like you said, it's an impactful title. So it'll pop
Yes.
up in your search.
Yes.
I'm on Facebook. My name is common. It's Melissa Rodriguez. So what I can do is I can send you the links and you can
Yes. Yeah, I'll put everything in the show notes for sure. So everyone can find you. Make sure
yeah.
you all check that out. Click on the links in the description. All right. This was fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful
Yeah.
for you. I'm grateful that we found each other. The universe was like, okay, let me put Melissa and Liz together. They're going to be doing some big things and they need to
Yeah.
share it with the world and shout it from the rooftops. And I am your biggest cheerleader right now. I'm super
Thank you.
thrilled to see where this goes. And it's really inspiring. It's
Cheers.
definitely inspiring me and the listeners. So thank you, Melissa. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much. And yeah, same thing. When I came across your page, the podcast, I was like, oh my God, if this isn't perfect and like you said, divine timing, it really was like just amazing. And I'm excited to have done this and to be able to share my story and my journey. And like you said, it's more to come, just more to come.
Yeah.
Excited about it.
Yeah. And I forgot to ask you the main wrap up question. So, for all of the She Elevate listeners, Melissa, what is one piece of advice that you would give for them to take from today's podcast?
The biggest piece of advice that I would give anybody going through everything that we went through is to start anyway. If you have to start over, it's okay. And I think that's one of our biggest fears is the fear of starting over. And I think that's also why so many of us stay stuck in those relationships or
Mhm.
stay in the relationship because our biggest fears are starting over again. And I'm 37, going to be 38, and I had to start over. And I was forced to do it because if you avoid something too long, the universe is going to make you face it anyway. So it's almost like just face the fear and start over anyway. Because a lot of the times you find that starting over ends up being more beautiful and you end up creating better version of yourself than what was there before. Like when he met me, if he thought I was strong and empowered then, just wait till he sees me have the successful business, have the successful company, and I'll soon be making millions right up there with him, and then I can say, "I
Yes.
did that."
You did that solo with
Right.
you by yourself without him.
Exactly. So, the biggest fear is starting over, and it's just as much as it's scary, do it anyway, and you're gonna
Yes.
get yourself in the long run. And also, that's also why I created my business because I wanna be that support system for anyone who does have to start from scratch and is starting over. I realized I have the tools and resources to help guide women and entrepreneurs through that process. I'm hoping to ease that fear for anybody else because I know what
Yes.
it's like to have gone through it. So now I get to be the
Absolutely.
person that eases that fear and eases that transition for women who are experiencing it now or in the future.
That is so great. That is really empowering and inspiring. Just start over. Today's a new day. You wake up, imagine just a totally different version of you and then step into it. A lot of times I would just have to put the emotion aside. I think it was the emotions that really held me stuck and going down these rabbit holes of, oh no, what if this? What if that? What if this? What if that? And I'll never be able to. And I don't want to change. And I don't want to step into this new unfamiliar area of life. That is super scary. And I believe that leaves a lot of people stuck, whether it was the toxic relationship or stuck in a job that they hate or stuck in a location, an environment that they hate. It's so scary to start over. But most of the time that Actually, every story that I've heard, it has led into just incredible transformation and growth. And yeah, so that's the best message. I love it. So
Thank
start
you.
again. Everybody just start again. Get off this podcast and go start your new freaking life over.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Melissa, so much. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day.
Thank you.
Thanks. I created something powerful for the woman who's tired of playing small. If you're done surviving and you're ready to rise, this is for you. It's called the She Elevates Blueprint, a 7-day transformational guide to help you reclaim your power, reset your mindset, and redesign your life from the inside out. We're talking confidence, clarity, boundaries, money, love, healing, purpose, every area of your life. Each day, you'll get a journal prompt, an aligned action, an affirmation, and a voice note from me, yours truly. So it feels like I'm right there cheering you on. You're going to feel seen. You're going to feel grounded. And by day 7, you won't even recognize you. If you've been waiting for a sign to elevate your life, this is it. Tap the link, download your free copy of the She Elevates Blueprint, and let's step into your next level together. You're not alone. You're not broken. You're becoming. Let's rise, my queen. Thank you for tuning in to the She Elevates podcast. I hope today's episode poured into you, reminded you of your power, and gave you something to take with you on this journey of elevation. Share it with a friend, your sister, your tribe, because when one of us rises, we all rise. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling generous, leave a review. It helps more women find this movement and step into their highest self. Want more? Come hang with me over on Instagram at Liz Rankin Elevates, or join our free She Elevates community on Facebook, where we heal, grow, and glow together. Until next time, remember this: you're not behind, you're not broken, you're becoming. Keep rising, queen. Your next level is already calling.